For this week's news, we're catching up with quite a bit of news, starting off with last weekend at BlizzCon, where there was lots of Diablo news. For a quick recap, here's what was announced. Diablo 2 is getting a remaster called Diablo 2 Resurrected, coming to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X later in 2021. Blizzard previewed some of the gameplay footage during the livestream and assures while the game has been given modern graphics, it will keep the original experience intact, keeping Diablo's 2 systems and all its quirks according to the press release. There will be a few additions including some highly requested quality of life improvements, which includes shared stash. As for Diablo 4, a new class was confirmed for the game, Rogue, which combines a mix of assassin and demon hunter. While there are some similarities to these classes, the Rogue does work a little differently. Rogue is a hybrid class that utilizes both melee and range builds. Fans of the Diablo franchise will recognize some of the abilities seen in the gameplay shown, as they demonstrate some familiar moves such as stabbing from the shadows and creating a downpour of arrows, making veterans feel comfortable with this new class. Diablo 4 didn't get a release window or announcement for a beta despite earlier rumors, but instead a Diablo 2 Resurrected testing sign-up was announced. If you want more Diablo, be sure to drop by our Diablo 4 and Diablo 2 Resurrected wikis. Apart from the occasional rumours and speculation, Elden Ring has received little news since the game was announced at E3 2019. Both FromSoftware and Bandai Namco have been rather quiet about the game, even 2 months into 2021. However, there is a new interesting detail that has emerged for Elden Ring, a PEGI rating. Elden Ring has been given a provisional rating of 16, meaning the content within the game is suitable for that age and above. At the moment, a provisional rating doesn't mean PEGI has officially rated the game, hence the provisional, but has been given this rating tentatively, as it will need to be rated once again when the game is submitted. A provisional rating could indicate that Elden Ring will be submitted soon for an official PEGI rating, meaning a release for Elden Ring might be a lot closer than we think, as a rating comes towards the end of development. So far there isn't any news from the developer or the publisher, so most of this is wishful thinking at this point, but this is some news at least. And now for some Starfield speculation. Microsoft is planning to hold some sort of event in March to share plans about Xbox and Bethesda. Industry insider Jeff Grubb shared in a GamesBeat podcast that Microsoft will be holding an event which could be separate from E3 2021. This event could be giving a release date for the upcoming space-set RPG Starfield, which up until this point has had little info on when it will release. According to a Reset Era reported by Push Square, known leaker who goes by the name of Nate Drake, Bethesda was planning to release the game towards the end of 2021. However, due to the pandemic, development may have shifted. ZeniMax Media and its subsidiaries, which include Bethesda Softworks, were acquired by Microsoft back in January, but the ruling for this acquisition will be approved by EU antitrust regulators by early March. Following this completion of the acquisition, it is expected some sort of press event will take place. Before we all jump aboard the hype train, or space shuttle in this case, take these leaks with a healthy pinch of salt, as so far there hasn't been any official news from Microsoft nor Bethesda. If Starfield is releasing in 2021, this would be an exciting year for Microsoft. Also this week, Bethesda announced for charity they'd be auctioning off the chance to create your own character for Starfield, working with the development team and Todd Howard. The top bid will also receive a brand new Xbox Series X and a number of Bethesda games included. The Elder Scrolls V, Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 4 and more. Currently the bid stands at $15,400 USD. Paradox have announced that Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 will no longer be releasing in 2021 as previously stated, and also announced that Hardsuit Labs, the developer, have been removed from the project. In Paradox's latest earnings statement, Paradox explains that they decided to postpone the launch of the game and now parted ways with the Hardsuit Labs developer. For the time being, pre-orders for Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 have been halted. There is so far no news on a new release window, but a vague window of after 2021. Now, Paradox will be working with a new team to finish the game, and details of the new development team will be shared in future. Asmodee Digital announced the Lovecraft-inspired Arkham horror board game series adaptation is coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch and PC this March. Arkham Horror Mother's Embrace is an adaptation of the Arkham Horror board game series, a narrative-driven tactical RPG set in the 1920s. The game takes place in a spooky mansion where a murder has taken place, the victim an astronomy professor. Players get to choose from 12 investigators from the Arkham Horror games. Each possesses a unique skill set, creating a group who will uncover the mysteries surrounding the mysterious death. Developer Asmodee Digital has announced that the game will be coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch and PC on the 23rd of March. Some brief Final Fantasy XVI news this week as producer Naoki Yoshida shared in the latest episode of GameHack on the Tokyo FM radio show one morning a few details about the game. He described the title as being quite action-orientated, but also assures those who aren't good at action games that there will be a story mode for those who'd rather focus on narrative. From the sounds of this, it might be a mode similar to that of the Final Fantasy VII Remake's Classic mode, which introduced an auto-normal attacks, leaving the player in charge of the command menu and active time functions, simplifying battles. This mode lets players focus on more of the narrative than the action. Final Fantasy XVI is currently in development for PlayStation 5. The award-winning action RPG Mortal Shell is getting an enhanced edition which will be releasing on consoles PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Mortal Shell Enhanced Edition is a fully remastered version of the game supporting 4K resolution and providing upgraded textures, all in 60 frames per second. Mortal Shell Enhanced Edition will be available on March 4th and will offer a completely free next-gen upgrade for existing Mortal Shell owners on their respective consoles. For those who have yet to pick up this dark fantasy RPG, you can get the remastered version for $29.99 USD. The remastered version also comes with full PlayStation 5 DualSense controller support, being calibrated to provide an immersive experience, offering whispering sounds and heartbeat vibrations that happen when you are approaching a new shell. Of course, this isn't all the Final Fantasy news this week, we have some more. Sony's State of Play took place this week, which included some Final Fantasy news. This included the announcement of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, an enhanced and expanded edition of the remake that was released last year, including a new episode featuring Yuffie. The upgrade comes with improved game lighting, texture and environment, which has increased the PlayStation 5 version of the game. There are also new features which include a graphics mode, letting you switch between prioritizing 4K graphics and performance mode, which will prioritize frame rate at 60 FPS. The new episode, according to the official PlayStation Store page, follows the character Yuffie, who is a spirited ninja as she arrives at Midgar. Yuffie will be a playable character, offering a new adventure in both combat and world map. In the trailer, you can see her wall running in true ninja style and some quick deadly moves. Those who already own the PlayStation 4 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake and want to gain the experience of the PlayStation 5 enhancements can upgrade their game for free, carrying over your saved data from the PlayStation 4 version. However, this will not include the new episode featuring Yuffie, and you will need to buy the Yuffie episode separately, according to the PlayStation blog. In other Final Fantasy news, 2 mobile games were announced. Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier, a battle royale game coming to iOS and Android in 2021, and Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, a single-player real-time action-based title set to cover the whole Final Fantasy VII timeline. This includes games Advent Children Before Crisis, Crisis Core, and Dirge of Cerberus. The game will also be given a bit of a nostalgic visual twist, taking on PS1 visuals, but with a modern upgrade. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis will release on iOS and Android in 2022. Monster Hunter Rise has been confirmed to be coming to PC, but launching in early 2022. According to an interview with IGN Japan with the producer of Monster Hunter Rise, Ryozo Sugimoto, he shared that there were lots of requests for a PC version of the game. Capcom was hit by a ransomware attack a few months ago, which threatened to leak a number of internal documents from the Japanese game developer if they did not pay up. Capcom did not comply with the threat and documents were leaked, leaking strategies including one which would bring the Switch exclusive Monster Hunter Rise to PC. At the time, it was hard to tell if this was just an outdated document or whether Capcom's plan had changed. According to this week's confirmation, apparently not. So far, there are no details about the PC version. Monster Hunter Rise will be coming to Switch first next month. It will be interesting to see if there will be crossplay between the platforms. Well, that's it for the Week in the Wikis. Please join us again next week for yet another great week of gaming. Remember to check out our VIP program for some exclusive supporter benefits. and budding writers should take advantage of our Become an Author initiative. Thanks again for being part of this great community. Keep checking in with us with news, reviews, YouTube streams and vids, and general wiki goodness.